Here we go. Spawning in the color red, playing as the Juji's Legacy, we got MarinelorD. And on the other side, playing as the Malians, we got LucifroN.
Yeah, so we're going to see about MarinelorD's creativity. What type of build is he going to go with this civilization? He's got a lot of different options to go with. Are you going to go with the more macro base? Are you going to try to put some pressure onto Mali? Are you going to kind of play your own game or make your opponent react?
Yeah, I guess usually against the Malians, you do kind of feel either you gotta go 2TC or you gotta put up aggression. Now with Juji's Legacy, you're definitely going to be more in a position to actually do both things, as you can very easily with the Song Dynasty afford those additional TCs, and then also get up a lot of Jugunu and Spearman numbers. And yeah, overall, I think Juji's Legacy definitely one of the strongest civilizations at the moment. On the other hand side, though, Malians definitely no slouch either, being hailed as like the strongest civilization in the last tournament.
Yep. We can see whenever you're playing Mali, the biggest focus that you want to look out at the beginning is where you're going to be your gold veins, where your pit mine's going to be going down, and your second pit mines as well. Well, we can see LucifroN, nice little spawn. He's got his back gold, and he's got his secondary gold right there next to it. So if he's able to secure that fine, he is going to have two lovely, safe gold locations for the long term.
Yeah, on the other hand side, his food sources, they're pretty far towards the left side, but as the Malians, you're not necessarily incentivized to really go out for food source. You can just stay up in your base, you get those cattle ranches up, you get the cattle inside, and you're just going to be fine getting that passive income all day with the Malians. And both players scouting for the sheep right now. MarinelorD should be getting relatively close to age up here soon. As the Juji's Legacy, you get a pretty big discount in the Tank Dynasty for your age ups, 15% less that you have to pay for your age up, so it's only going to be 340 food and 170 gold to be able to age up. Tax is going to be coming in, and with that, I think MarinelorD only needs like a little bit more gold now, and one drop of a food, and then we will be seeing where the Meditation Garden is going up. And there are a couple of spots out on the map where you could think of dropping it. Might be going just inside a space for a rather safe one, but over here we can see one that is really, really, really special. You get a lot of wood, you get the berries, you get 2 gold mines. Where is he gonna go? It looks like MarinelorD hasn't actually scouted that one out. He's going out there now.
Oh,
and looks like it's just gonna be in front of his base. That's still not gonna be a bad one. He's gonna be getting stone, gold, the food from the berries, as well as a little bit of the wood there from the wood line. It's definitely not a bad spot for him either.
no, not by any means. Just could have been a little bit better that we would have liked to see. It's always fun seeing how high you can get on the resource count, how much of a god spawn you can get your meditation gardens. MarinelorD just now spotting out that location. I bet he's like, oh, wow, this could have been it. This could have been the one.
Yeah, for sure. Doesn't cancel it though, even though that would have definitely been a very strong one. Actually, he didn't spot the second gold mine there that was there. No, he must have spotted. Yeah. Yeah, that could have been like a 60 gold and probably like 70 food plus an additional 40 wood kind of meditation garden. Could have been like a 170 resource per minute meditation garden. But this one is still roughly giving him, I want to say, 120 resources per minute.
Yeah, nothing to complain about, nothing shabby at all. Mansaquari about to finish as well, obviously known for Mali, known for their passive resources quite a bit. First pit mine has already been working for quite some time, and all that gold just means more cows.
Exactly. Both players now hitting the feudal age. No villagers yet moved out to stone. MarinelorD definitely, like if he wants to go for a secondary TC, now's probably the time for him to move villagers out to stone, as he does have enough resource to now drop his Song Dynasty landmark. And there it is, Shangnan Tower now getting dropped. Still villagers moving out to stone, so maybe this is more of a feudal age aggression kind of play.
Yeah, it could just be that one TC song all in kind of play where once you get your tower down, you just start dropping a bunch of production buildings. All those production buildings give you units immediately, and start using those production buildings for more units as well. You have a little bit of an easier food transition if you get to that point, being on, well, easier food transition compared to other civs, maybe not Mali, but being on Song Dynasty with the granary transition that you can make too.
Scout from LucifroN, scouting out the meditation gun, but now MarinelorD is moving out to stone, so could be that's just a little bit of a delayed second TC. Maybe he just want to scout out what his opponent was going for, whether it's going to be a second pit mine expansion, and he does spot the second pit mine, now moves onto stone. I just want to be matching that eco investment with his own second TC.
So, villagers moving out over heavier onto that stone, like you were mentioning. That scout disrupting the piece just a little bit, nothing too crazy, but every military unit that is in that meditation gardens disrupts that piece by, I think it's 10% per unit inside. So not working to its fullest effect. As you can see there now, 27 per minute instead of 30 on some of those.
Now, the sheep actually counts as a unit here as well. So in theory, LucifroN has 2 units there. It takes a little bit for the meditation garden economy to update correctly. So if the sheep remains here for a while, that's actually going to be minus 20%.
Don't think the sheep can be remaining much longer as the first horseman has arrived. The horseman denies that scout, denies that vision. This is also so important, just denying vision on your side. So this is where MarinelorD, he's been showing the second TC. We expect the second TC to drop. But is there going to be a third? Is there going to be faster castle after this, after he drops the second TC? It's going to be harder for LucifroN to know with that scout being pushed back.
And now villagers getting pulled off the gold mine. At the same time, LucifroN investing into his Dunzos. First Dunzo coming out immediately, and with that, gold access should be resecured, and archer range coming out as well. MarinelorD spots that, and is now also going to notice that Dunzo.
Yep, horseman pulls back away quite quickly. Scout falls back, didn't want to fall to just TC fire, but the cow boom has not fully been going yet. We see a cow sitting there next to the town center, probably waiting for some ranches to be built. There it is. The first ranch in play. 2 cows inside so far. And there's the third.
In the meantime, second TC has come in from MarinelorD. Still sitting on stone, though. Dropping it in the TC, though. But the second, third TC is going to be coming in soon here for him.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about. And LucifroN's not going to have the knowledge of this yet. MarinelorD, he denied that scout, denied that vision before he even started building his second TC. So LucifroN, he knows there's 2. He doesn't know there's 3 right now.
And now, first couple of units from LucifroN starting to push across the map. Is MarinelorD going to spot these? The horsemen right now, they're in the stealth forest. Should now spot that with the attack notification coming in. Dunzo firing off a shot as well. Horsemen will have to retreat. Gonna go around, though, to try and make LucifroN's army turn back, but LucifroN, he's not turning back.
Yeah, not worried about those few horsemen by any means. Can just mass up a few more Donzo if he needs at home and to push those units on away. That being said, MarinelorD, I think what he did with I think LucifroN just scouted out the stone with those javelin throwers, can see how much stone MarinelorD's gathered and knows that there's going to be a third.
Just have his army over here. Could try to disrupt the peace once again from that meditation garden. Horseman looking around here, but there is a Donzo to defend.
The piece is indeed being disrupted yet again. There's a TC close, but no units inside, no units to fire on off in there. Oh, there's 1 villager inside, it looks like. And now villagers under the main mill starting to be focused. This is MarinelorD's food source here, and does not want to be denied off of that one for a good bit. Does have the 3rd TC on deer though.
Yeah, it's gonna give him some more resources, but he is pulling those horsemen back now. Some economy is now coming in, and MarinelorD, he can also just make more production buildings to get military units out for free. He's dropping 2 more archer ranges. So a couple additional Shuganu coming in soon here.
Oh. Scout! Barely able to stay alive.
More military units coming out from LucifroN behind all of this. Now, 2 TC, Malians can easily keep up with the cattle economy. 3 TC, not so much.
Yeah, makes it to where there is kind of this timing now that LucifroN does need to punish. Is able to get the first villager kill, though it wasn't. It jumped inside the TC. The javelin was on its way, and it was one of those, he shut the door, and the javelin went through the door right next to his head.
There we go, first couple of engagements coming in now.
Chuk's starting to step up. They want to just clear up those Donzos to then allow the Horsemen to close the gap on the Javelin throwers. Looks like MarinelorD did exactly that. There's only 1 to 2 Donzos here forward, but reinforcement ones are on the way, and MarinelorD Horsemen turn right back around.
It has to turn around. More javelin throws coming out from LucifroN. MarinelorD, he doesn't quite have the food income right now that LucifroN does. LucifroN actually has a very, very solid food income here. Beyond all of that, sitting at 1,200 food per minute. Overall income looking very, very good for him. And now he's just putting up more production buildings, getting more units out. And I think, yeah, this is definitely going to be the timing where he will have to do damage on MarinelorD in the Feudal Age. I don't think he can let that 30C go unpunished just because the scaling, it's going to go so quickly into MarinelorD's favor to the point where right now, MarinelorD's already almost 20 villagers ahead.
Yeah, the key for LucifroN is he's investing in the military, he's investing into cows, but he's also about to go up to Castle Age to allow that cow boom to come online even harder, to allow his Castle Age upgrades to come in. MarinelorD's just trying to play that defensive, I'm just going to mass Chuk play.
Donzo's coming in. Jugenu starting to mess up, as he said. LucifroN has to be careful. He has more movement speed. He has the armor on those javelin throws. Horsemen do a little bit of a switcheroo there through TC. Excellent micro coming out from LucifroN. He's so good with that micro. He gets the full score in the micro department for a reason.
Yep. MarinelorD walling off that western side, walling off that 3rd TC location, and LucifroN, even throughout this pressure, going up to Castle Age. One thing that MarinelorD will have a worry about if this continues to extend is going to be food. He's not onto the berries yet. He's barely onto the next set of deer. But the longer this goes, the more of a worry that becomes.
Go more units coming out right now. And Granville and Corral, as you mentioned, it's going to be coming in. MarinelorD, though, also getting some good food income right now. Gold income, though, not so much. He's investing a lot into those Jugenu right now. And LucifroN, after he gets up, he could look forward to transition into sofas, potentially. Question is going to be if it's going to be sofa play or might just be continuing with the infantry mix here for now. Definitely will need that secondary Pierce armor upgrade just to be able to further reduce the damage from the Jugenu, especially on the units like the Donzos. Getting +2 on them is going to mean a lot of damage that he's not going to be taking from them.
Villagers trying to build some more outposts, building, jumping inside the TC, just trying to get that base extra damage, extra fire on in. Javelin throwers, they're so tanky when it comes to range damage. It's so hard to actually get enough damage in to clear them on up.
Enough Jugenu means that they are able to take some not so bad trades against the javelin throwers here.
TC starting to be burnt, though, and look at how quick it's being taken down. Already down to half health. MarinelorD just waiting, watching, waiting for this timing. Pulling villagers now to go heal it back up. Horsemen circle on around. Chuk stepping into play as well. Just wants to keep this TC, wants to keep this location alive and make sure LucifroN is taking a lot of damage for this dive.
Front still has a lot more units in the queue. MarinelorD not up yet, but looks like he's going to be able to hold the TC spot here, potentially. Javelin throws, not firing right now. There we go, fires again. Straight onto Jugenu. Upgrades on the outpost have come in. So is going to have an additional hand cannon placement shot on there. Now the Shaolin Monastery is coming in. I'm not sure about the Shaolin Monastery, though. The Shaolin Monk, he's gotten nerfed quite a bit. He doesn't have the ranged armor anymore. So ranged units can still do a good amount of damage to him now.
Yep, only 11 jabs out still. There's 10 horsemen, there's 20 Chuks, and MarinelorD has still been able to hold this TC location and just should fall back and wait for Castle, wait for his upgrades to come through. And I think he's going to be sitting in a pretty fine situation. He's built the Vil lead up to 30. LucifroN's just now starting to make that sofa swap.
Yeah, the sofa swap coming in now. It feels like it's a little bit too late. He had a lot of food in the bank, a lot of gold in the bank. Just wasn't able to get it out quick enough with those javelin throws. Now the sofa switch, though, could still get something done here. But now MarinelorD has access to crossbowmen, potentially.
MarinelorD also starting the granary transition behind this. He's able to do so with that extra Vil count he has. Just now starting to build them all the way in the west corner behind the walls in a nice, safe corner of the map.
First unit, it's going to be a warrior scout, though. Not a sofa. Now the sofa's going to be in queue as well. Looks like MarinelorD is now going to be trying to get some raids out with the horsemen. And also coming out for MarinelorD. Horsemen now moving around the side. We're going to try to attack the flank from LucifroN.
LucifroN's just continued to kind of attack the same location, but it's so heavily reinforced now at this point. There's TCs, there's an outpost that's upgraded, and all he has is infantry. So it's kind of like hard for him to attack this location unless he just has so much more of a mass, which he does at this point without the horsemen being here. Horsemen going for a big dive, going for some damage into the eco. MarinelorD just trying to defend this with Chooks now.
Just Chooks are going to do a good job here. They do have the veterans here in. Now the Sofa's coming in as well, but at the same time, horsemen finding their way into the woodline from LucifroN. Gotta check out LucifroN's base there. The horsemen are in.
Just heard the ping go in. He reacts very, very quickly, but there's so many horsemen. They're not only going to be hitting the wood line, they're probably going to go over to the gold right after this. Just continue to burn houses, but the TC has fallen. Villagers starting to fall for MarinelorD. LucifroN, though, heavily, heavily idled as well, has all of this passive income for himself.
Oh, Relic was about to come in, but that monk, it's going to get sniped. Dunzo's not able to defend that one in time. More units coming out from LucifroN behind all of that. Now, MarinelorD isn't able to idle the entire economy just because the cavalry engines they're always going to be producing. But this still is a good delay here for him. And same time, though, LucifroN, he's massed up this very, very large army right now. 5,700 army value compared to 3,600 from MarinelorD. And if MarinelorD's not careful, he might just be getting overrun. 2 of the Imperial officials go down. It's going to be a lot of economy lost here for him.
Yeah, it does have 2 outposts, 3 outposts helping out along with the main TC, kiting back with the Chooks, so doing the best he can. There's still a lot of javelin throwers, though, so they take up that range damage so well. So if it did get cleared up, and horsemen stopping some of those reinforcing units and headed back towards MarinelorD's base to defend this push.
Horsemen just running around trying to misdirect the fire. Javelin throws have been split into 2 groups, tries to get as much damage out as possible. But the horsemen, they did a good job of just waiting here. And now a nest of bees in a crucial moment when LucifroN doesn't have enough units to dive onto that one. And it looks like MarinelorD is going to be able to hold this with a 40 villager lead.
Yeah, he holds that push. He defends perfectly well. All 3 of those outposts with hand cannon slits involved just does so much extra base damage, and LucifroN taking all that extra fire from units that aren't actually military. They're just invested in structure.
And behind that, MarinelorD now also goes for the farm transition. Still in Song Dynasty, getting that big discount on his food economy, on his farms that he's putting up in the corner of the map. And it's going to be a granary transition pretty much already done here for him now.
Yeah, I saw him drop about 8 to 10 farms earlier on, and he got past that initial kind of fallback point. He's still on some of the berries, but that additional farms is just going to allow this food income to skyrocket and equalize basically the cows on the other side.
LucifroN, he's only just now getting the +2 Pierce armor. There was still a lot of Shuganu in the last fight. That definitely could have helped them there a ton.
Not only the Shuganu, but the TCs, the hand cannon slits, everything there, just taking a little bit less damage, could have gone a long way with that many units.
LucifroN now switching into archers as well behind this. More Sofas coming out as well. Income, not a great disparity between these 2 players right now, even though MarinelorD's almost 50 villagers ahead at this point in time.
Yeah, he still is.
The income is going to skyrocket.
Yeah, he's still been transitioning. He's had to move out to a different gold vein, had to kind of move out to some different farms, has gotten the second relic, about to be a 3rd relic in as well.
Just the Shaolin monk so far, doing a great job. And behind that, I mean, MarinelorD, he's got 2 nest of bees. LucifroN has started massing up a lot of archers. It's going to be questionable if LucifroN's going to really be able to take any great fights here. Especially since MarinelorD's kind of barricading himself inside his base. There's going to be a lot of choke points that LucifroN's going to have to navigate. He's definitely going to need siege here at some point. I don't think he can push in without siege.
Yeah, and I feel like LucifroN and Vortex, they both aren't the ones that are afraid to drop some rams. He just hasn't done so yet. Instead, just relying on the melee masses to be the torches, to be the damage there. Donzo get a nice little brace on the horseman. And the Sofa is still there ready and waiting.
But there's the Nest of Bees.
Oh, Nest of Bees!
LucifroN has to be careful.
Oh.
Okay, gets the dodge in.
Second shot, though, is about to go off. And it goes onto the range. So much damage. There's a second Nest of Bees, too. Both of them get huge fires onto the back line. So much damage is already been done.
No Nest of Bees has been taken down yet. First one goes down, but the Archer mass has been absolutely decimated behind this. And Poison Arrows isn't in yet.
LucifroN still has a lot of the numbers, but so many of those units are heavily damaged. There's so many outposts here from MarinelorD too that it should help to clear up this mass again. And all of a sudden, that 50 count goes down to 35. They're dead even on the military numbers again. And MarinelorD still up 35 villagers.
And that after LucifroN killed 28 of them.
It's just this triple TC, now double TC eco is just hard for Mali to deal with.
All of that, MarinelorD getting some of the gold from the outside of the map. LucifroN right now, he can't be sure where exactly MarinelorD's getting gold from because the gold mine in the back of MarinelorD's base pretty much already mostly depleted at this point in time. So some gold over here.
And now we're finally starting to see that economy divide a little bit. We're seeing MarinelorD. He's got an extra 500 wood per minute. He's still got just 1 or 2 extra 100 food per minute, but just slowly been starting to divide, slowly been building up that lead now, which will finally transition into this military, into more of this game. And MarinelorD really quick with just building up another wall. I wouldn't even be surprised to see him drop a second layer right behind the one he just built.
And another raid. Soon gonna be incoming from MarinelorD. He's sending some units around the side. Knights and horsemen here. That's gonna be tough to defend against. Now, there aren't a lot of blacksmith upgrades from MarinelorD. Looks like he might just be going straight up for Imperial Age here soon. The way he's banking his resources.
Was attempting to dive that wood line. Wood line has been fully cleared. LucifroN repositioned villagers to the other side of the wood line, saw the night raid coming, and find some villagers that were on one of the gold veins, but Nest of Bees behind the wall, defending up pretty well.
I tell you what, Dabston, every time I see those Nest of Bees fire here in this game, I gotta hold my breath because it's just so deadly. Now, this time though, Springles are out for LucifroN. Springles from MarinelorD as well, but this is not China that we're speaking of here. This is Juju's Legacy. They don't get that clockwork siege in.
Yep, the Sofa getting cleared up pretty quickly. Those Poison Archers doing a great job, though, at getting on top of those crossbows on the backside. And MarinelorD, he will have to fall back. Nest of Bees does get one shot in, but Springles pushes both of the siege units back away for MarinelorD.
Outpost has been reinforced with a Springles emplacement. MarinelorD still stacking a lot of resources in the bank right now. LucifroN doesn't have a lot of resources in the bank, and look at that, Knights still killing units over here.
Yeah, at first I thought they were just killing out a lot of the reinforcements, but wasn't just the reinforcements. There were villagers over there that were falling as well. So LucifroN just had that push delayed up quite effectively by MarinelorD's just military raiding mass.
And MarinelorD, over 2,000 food per minute now. The farm economy, it's really been scaling. Now, he doesn't have tier 2 on the food upgrades, so definitely could have gotten that by now. With that, he would be at 2,500 food per minute right now.
Yeah, still being 800 food above his opponent. He's ahead on every single resource coming in per minute. He's got 700 extra gold. He's got 200 extra wood. He's got another extra 600 to 800 food coming in. So this is where now Mali is starting to find this deficit that they're going to be in. And oh no, the cattle ranches are starting to be burned. This is so crucial for LucifroN to keep this online. This is all of his food income.
First Cattle Ranch gets taken down, and behind that, Juji's Library is now going to be coming in with a lot of gold left in the bank for MarinelorD, so he can really get all the upgrades that he wants right now. Could be looking at Cloud of Terror potentially. With that, his bombard cannons would be pretty much equivalent to Great Bombards.
LucifroN, mainly archer mass. Yes, it's poison archers, but there's still a front line there for MarinelorD as well as Siege, and MarinelorD's about to be knocking on the doorstep of LucifroN, and LucifroN, he doesn't want to deal with it any longer. Game number 1 taken by MarinelorD.
Such a solid defensive masterpiece here by Juju's Legacy, and truly, Juju's Legacy, just one of the strongest civilization right now in the game when it comes to like getting those TCs up, going for a greedy kind of play, and then still being able to hold, getting all these defensive outposts up very, very cheaply. And you can see it right here. MarinelorD's villager count just absolutely climbing to the top here. You can check out the economy count as well, just so we're able to take into account the cattle as well. It was very close up to the castle age, but after that, MarinelorD just booming, booming, booming. And in the end, the eco count was great enough for MarinelorD to just overrun LucifroN there and even go Imperial Age behind it.
Yeah, it's one of those that you aren't too surprised to see the villager divide playing against Mali. You have to try to match their economy somehow, whether it's pressure or whether it's booming yourself. That's where MarinelorD was able to do a little bit of both, was able to get some good raids in with some horsemen, get some good annoyance there, push back the first push or two from LucifroN due to the outposts, and then the full economy was online. Just very, very clinical game from beginning to end, just adapting to what a lot of LucifroN was sending his way.
Exactly. Now we're going to be looking at our next game here in our second set of the day. And what will we have here? It's going to be the Chinese from MarinelorD. So he just played the Chinese variant civilization. Next up on the menu is the actual Chinese civilization on Hill and Dale, and LucifroN, he's going to be bringing out the Delhi.
Yeah, so this is going to be one where LucifroN leaning into more of his aggressiveness, leaning more into the micro. He's going to be able to, control the map more. Whereas MarinelorD, he says, hey, fine, take the map. I'm going to be booming up with Chinese. I got a lot of economy behind this as well, just like we saw last game.
Exactly. Now, Delhi, they are still one of the better civilizations, I would say, on a map like Hill and Dale. You definitely do want to take control of the middle of the map on this kind of map, and Delhi's excellent for that. They're immediately incentivized to go out on the map with those sacred sites, and I mean, China, they only get that one initial gold mine in their base. So it might be a situation where Delhi could potentially starve China off of gold, but China, they always passively get a lot of these resources in. Now, China, unlike Zhuji's Legacy, they do actually benefit a lot more from tax early on than Zhuji's Legacy does, because they get that Imperial Academy, all the buildings inside the influence of the Imperial Academy, providing double the amount of tax, and they're not going to be forced to build these Imperial officials from their TCs, but they can make them from the landmark.
Yeah. I always love casting Chinese games with Crackedy because it makes things so much easier to cast because he knows all the little intricacies of China. He knows all the build orders. He's very comfortable on the civ. So I'm like, all right, you take on over. You got this one.
On the opposite side, though, LucifroN, he is very, very solid with the Delhi, and I mean, Delhi probably one of his best civilizations in the game, I must say, and like his brother, very, very aggressive with them, and it's going to be interesting to see how exactly he's going to be playing this. On a map like Hill and Dale has the option to potentially wall in his opponents inside that little hill that they're spawning on and just prevent any move out onto the map.
Yeah, I've seen a few times where LucifroN and Vortex both, where they'll have their first blacksmith upgrade as the Delhi be siege engineering, and I'm like, really, what? And it's like, yep, that's how aggressive these players are. I wouldn't be too surprised if we saw something like that if there was a, one of those Barbicans that was on a sacred site, although I don't expect MarinelorD to be doing that. I expect him to probably just kind of play a little bit more conservative into his own eco. But again, wouldn't be too out of the ordinary to see LucifroN just going all in Feudal Age even.
Indeed. All in Feudal Age, definitely a potential here for them. With that Tower of Victory, getting that bonus attack speed might even be able to take favorable trades against a unit like the Zhigunu. Looks like we're just about to head into our game number 2 here in our second set of the day.
Yeah, exactly. Hill and Dale. Let's check and see these spawns. MarinelorD will be on the northeastern side as the Chinese in the color red, and LucifroN on the Delhi Sultanate in the color yellow in the southwest.
All right, typical opening here with LucifroN, going for that straggler tree, gets that bonus wood income, able to build both a mosque and two gather buildings as well as a house with the additional wood income. Wheelbarrow immediately in queue. MarinelorD going for the same opener that he did earlier with the Jushi's Legacy. Starts off with the straggler tree, then moves on to a mill. Is going to supervise that mill for an additional income with the wood drop off. That is going to facilitate an immediate early village from him.
Yeah, the key here is how much of the sacred site control is MarinelorD going to give up? Is he going to go into that 2TC Song Dynasty Chinese eco, or is he going to play more into the try to deny, delay the sacred sites, let the Song Dynasty just pay off itself and contest a little more? Because that's really where, you know, having all three sacred sites to just having one or two is a huge difference for the Delhi.
It is. And I mean, MarinelorD can, in theory, go for a 2TC Song kind of build here and still be able to get a lot of Shuganu out. The issue is going to be, ever since the Delhi Sultanate got access to the Ghazi Raiders, the Ghazi Raiders has one stat that perfectly counters the Shuganu. More health than a normal horseman. With that bonus health, they take a lot more shots to take down effectively. They also have a lot more base damage. With that, they're actually a very effective unit against the Shuganu, and once you're able to get like this kind of Ghazi Raider frontline and Tower of Victory and a lot of archers out, it's going to be very tough for 2TC China to be able to hold there if the timing comes in. This matchup used to be very one-sided in favor of the Chinese. I feel like after the Ghazi Raider came in, though, it's become more 50-50, maybe 60-40 at most.
Yeah. MarinelorD actually moving out onto the deer here pretty early on. I know I've heard some people, they're like, it's not always good to start out on the deer that early as Chinese because you don't get as much tax gold, but you can always do, you know, forced drops offs and whatnot. That being said, I don't think it's going to be too big of a difference overall with these builds. It's just going to be one where Feudal Age is going to be coming through, and this game we'll start to see how the differences in Feudal Age play with the control that we'll see.
Go. Dome of Faith coming in now. MarinelorD surely going to be going for that Imperial Academy very soon here on his side. And he's second now.
Oh.
Okay. He's trolling me right now. He's going for the Barbican first. All right. There's not going to be a big timing difference between going for the Barbican first or the Imperial Academy first. Going for the Barbican first, though, ensures that you're definitely going to be getting it up. Usually, though, even if Delhi go for like a really quick Ghazi Raider out, you should usually still be able to get it out in time.
Yeah, you're Chinese, you have that faster build speed, but I guess MarinelorD maybe just didn't want to have that risk, have that, you know, chance of having to pull more villagers or losing a villager early on. Instead, just wants to drop it safe, secure, and have that front side of his base locked in, and two very short walls will be the only thing that need to be invested into as far as protecting the backside.
Exactly. But I guess the front side is never really where Delhi wants to wall the Chinese in, so they can still just go for the sides, wall China in from the sides, and then we're also going to be playing into a little bit of a kind of wood control kind of situation, because against the Chinese, usually what you want to be doing is you want to be controlling the wood. The wood is the main thing that the Chinese need in order to expand onto the map, and yeah, getting those farms, getting those granaries, unlike Jushi's Legacy, the Chinese, they have to pay full price for that.
Yeah, it's not only the granaries, it's the outposts, it's everything that they end up having to pay full price to comparatively. Same thing with the TC if they go second TC. That being said, MarinelorD hasn't thought about going over to the stone yet. Still just investing into protecting his base, and the first backside wall is on the way. And finally, we see the Imperial Academy being built with 3 villagers in the heart of his eco.
Yeah, than it would have otherwise come in. So it's not going to immediately get that double gold, and now Stable is going to be getting dropped by LucifroN. So the first Ghazi Raider is right around the corner.
The nice thing about that Imperial Academy is that Imperial Academy is going to have its influence on that main wood line for such a long period of time. Very, very nice with, just having that extra influence to all of the lumber camps that you'll continually refresh most likely.
Yeah, that means he's going to be getting a lot of taxable gold. I think overall, you always want to have mainly the food and the wood in range of your Imperial Academy when you start building it. It's the best resource for you to be getting the gold from, the tax from.
I actually love this play by MarinelorD building a wall in front of the Barbican. A lot of people are going to be like, why is he building the wall even though he's got the Barbican there? And the reason being is it's because you can just run past the Barbican once you get a good amount of units. It only fires 1 or 2 times, and then your whole eco is at risk. Well, with the wall, they can't do that any longer. And so it's a little bit of a bait sometimes having this Barbican on the front side without a wall.
Yeah, the Barbican actually doesn't have that much DPS. If you compare it to a Kremlin, Kremlin's probably does like 3 times as much DPS if there are units inside. And yeah, you definitely have to respect it if there's a wall, though. Wall in the front means the units are going to stick around a lot longer. And these individual shots from Barbican get a lot of more damage out. And now we see scholars from LucifroN walking to all of the different sacred sites. Sanctity right around the corner.
MarinelorD trying to use a scout to stall out the sacred site from being capped for as long as possible. Any gold trickle you can delay is a huge benefit. That eastern sacred site quite far away, so just walking time took a good little bit for those scholars, but all 3 scholars are on those sacred sites now and gonna start trickling in that gold for the deli.
That's going to be a lot of additional resources coming in immediately. Now, MarinelorD, he's not on that second TC yet. He is working towards it. Already has a stone for it. Just needs the wood now. He's on Song Dynasty, so he is already getting a little bit quicker. Already got a 3 villager lead. Now the second TC is going to be coming in for him.
Yep, right next to that Imperial Academy has the nice old deer that surrounds it, but if he's on those deer next to the TC, he's not dropping it off at a supervised mill, which is one thing that I will say is not fun. You're just throwing away resources that you could have had appearing out of nowhere.
Yeah, you're losing out on roughly like 700 resources total if you're not supervising the mill with the deer. So it's definitely a lot that you're losing out on. I think as China, you can just put your TC right like next to the left side of your initial TC. You don't want it as a drop-off building. LucifroN just massing units behind all of that. Triple sacred site cap, so he's going to be getting a lot of passive gold in now.
And the big question is do you drop a market, you trade off some of that gold, do you just use it to go up to Castle Age? Looks like he's starting to get a good little food bank going. Doesn't have more units in queue, so I'm thinking Castle Age is going to be his idea.
Could definitely be a fast Castle Age here now. He's also walling in the sacred site, so wants to make sure that these are going to be kept. And I think this is a smart play. Against the Chinese, a sacred site victory is definitely more reasonable to go for, rather than try to like all in into their base, especially once they went for like a secondary TC. And the Barbican having a defensive landmark just kind of makes it very, very difficult to all in on your opponent. So I like this idea. He's already prepping the scholars as well next to the relics. So as soon as he's getting the age up, he's immediately going to be grabbing a lot of the relics on the map.
Yeah, it looks like he's not being too greedy. Isn't going for the relic all the way on MarinelorD's side. Might not even have the vision of it, not completely sure, but just going to have a very, very quick 4 relics. I remember Wham and Puppy Paw back in the day when earlier on in the casting, when Delhi was super popular and they'd hit castle and you'd literally just hear like ding, 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 ding. And it was just every single relic was picked up like right off the bat when Castle Age finishes. And that's how it should end up being from LucifroN here once he starts and finishes it here.
It just only needs a little bit more gold now. There we go. Has enough gold. And there we go. Compound of Defender comes in now. At the same time, MarinelorD, he's starting to push out onto the middle of the map with a couple of his units. LucifroN definitely needs to react to that. Needs to get more archers out if he wants to deny this, because getting those sacred sites fully under control is going to be key here. I don't think the wall is fully finished yet. Looks like it's just about finished, though.
It's about to be finished, and this is one of those where just having the front side of the wall finished first was a huge benefit because it did its job. It distracted the units for long enough, and they had to fall back. Scholar's still trying to wait near to get that relic, though. I think MarinelorD has spotted that out and knows too.
Yeah, now H-Up is going to be coming in. MarinelorD still producing a lot of Spearmen, a lot of Shuganu, even supervises one of his production buildings there. Probably the archer range. Tries to get more units up, but now the H-Up is in, and immediately upgrades are getting queued here.
Yeah, it's nice that you can get all these free upgrades in. The problem is it just takes a bit of time, especially ones such as veteran archers or veteran Ghazi raiders. But that's where LucifroN just transitioning over to triple Lancer production and still heavy onto the archers.
Archers out in the front, trying to stop that decap from happening. LucifroN definitely doesn't want that decap to happen, because right now it's only 7 minutes left until Sacred Side victory.
Yeah, it's nice always having that time ticking on down, putting pressure on your opponent. So the main engagement, they're still trying to hold this site. Spears diving on in. Ghazi Raiders taking the fight, even though there's spears here, even though there's chooks here. Archers trying to clean it on up, but this might just be LucifroN delaying until the Lancers arrive. And there it is. Lancer has arrived. This is where the fight is a totally different fight.
Yeah, Lancer, big difference. Jugunu not being able to do any damage to that boy. However, Spearman still out there. Man-at-Arms coming in, though. Those are going to be an answer to both the Jugunu and the Spearman here.
Lancers want to be on top of that Chooks, but they don't want to deal with the Spearman at all. That's where the Men-at-Arms is so nice to just say, hey, you can just A-move any of the damage that gets focused his way. I am fine with it. That is his main job, is to just go out there and tank it up and die.
Men-at-Arms in the queue right now for LucifroN, just rallying everything onto that middle Sacred Side. This middle Sacred Side is the only way, I feel like, for LucifroN to win this game long term. There's not going to be a way for him to win this if MarinelorD is decapping that one.
What unbelievable micro by MarinelorD, though, that whole time. He made sure the Chooks were constantly focusing the archers on the backside. So the archers got cleared on up. The Spearmen are able to stay alive. So the Lancers have an answer on MarinelorD's side in Feudal Age. Same thing with the Men-at-Arms if the Chook mass gets high enough.
Lancers coming out. 7 Spearmen remaining still. More units coming out. And LucifroN just desperately trying to keep the Sacred Side capped. More Men-at-Arms coming in. Definitely needs those. And now I feel like, slowly but surely, LucifroN able to take control over the Sacred Side.
Yeah, MarinelorD had a problem. It was his food economy. He had to transition onto a different spot of food. He doesn't have the map control. He's going to have a point, too, where he's going to have to transition to granaries if this continues on.
More Lances coming out, and we're getting to the point where there's enough Lances to start taking a fight against these Spearmen. Still has to be careful, though. Initial trade looking good for MarinelorD. But now, he's able to take control. Has to rewall immediately, I feel like. The side here.
Definitely should end up rewalling, as that just causes so much more delay. Still 6 minutes and 15 seconds. MarinelorD, though, look at him. He's on the front side of his wall. He's outside of his walls. He's on the berries. He just ran out of the original berries and deer. This is a problem. He's going to have to relocate all the way to the west side and transition into granaries.
Yeah, the farm transition right now hurts for him. And now we see LucifroN going over to stone. This, though, has been a very, very big delay here, because the Sacred Sides, they've been pretty much paused. The timer has been for like 3 minutes, I want to say.
Yep. And all during that time, look at MarinelorD's eco. It's just been steadily climbing. Delhi hasn't had that ability to climb on the Vil count number. They don't have their keeps down. They don't have the lovely castle age tech, village fortress tech that allows those keeps to be town centers. So there's no catching up on eco. You've just had this flat gold income from sacred sites and relics.
Now, looks like the first keep wants to be built here very soon. LucifroN doesn't have the stone for it yet, though. Is he just gonna start mining the gold instead? Yeah, he's just gonna be mining gold until he gets the stone for it, looks like. And now Astronomical Clock Tower, though, coming in.
Yeah, that was just such a quick transition into Castle Age from MarinelorD. He was like, all right, I'm going to stop this push for now. Didn't feel like LucifroN was going to dive into his base. Had enough to hold a dive if it happened, I guess. And now he's going to have Castle Age. He's going to be able to get upgrades. Still has walls, still has food for the time being. But does he have military to hold the Castle Age push that LucifroN's about to have?
Only Jugunu and Spearman for now. Crossbowmen, plenty in the queue immediately. But with this many archers, LucifroN might be able to just snipe him out. Veterancy on the archers should be coming in any second now as well.
The Chukso, if they're able to start sniping down these archers before the crossbows come out, that actually is a huge benefit for MarinelorD, able to at least get a few extra shots in, playing the best defensive game he can. We saw how well he did at holding the push from Mali. If there was no siege, if there was no rams to end his buildings, then he was still able to hold, and still LucifroN not choosing to do so again this time.
First keep has come up on the middle sacred site. Now LucifroN, he definitely wants keeps on the other sacred sites as well. You don't want to be in a position where your opponent can just run over to another sacred site and just decap that one. You want to have keeps on every single one, and he is getting the stone for it.
Goes right back. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like he's going to relocate over to that eastern sacred site. And still holding off MarinelorD from really breaking out of the base. MarinelorD trying to go over to that 8k gold vein. Gold in his home base is starting to run lower and could be a huge focal point, but MarinelorD is doubling LucifroN's eco.
Doubling the eco, not doubling the army value though. That's where LucifroN still has a very, very big lead right now. Knights are clashing, men-at-arms fighting against the front line. Knights find their way onto the back line.
Crossbows though sitting behind the wall. The crossbows are just shredding all of that front line, the very, very expensive food resource units. We just heard the 3-minute bell ding, though. So MarinelorD, he is on a timer. We know that exact timer. It's 3 minutes. There's a keep on the center one. There's a keep that's about to finish on the eastern one. And I'm sure that we'll see some reinforcements on the west as well.
Yeah, and I feel like MarinelorD, I don't think he has what it takes in order to decap any of these sacred sites now at this point in time. Doesn't have the military count. He's now going for Nest of Bees, but the bells are ringing. And even though he did such a great job with delaying the timer, I feel like the time window, it's closing, and it's rapidly closing at that as well.
The one key thing for him is the new sacred site change where, you know, if he just can get some units on there, even if LucifroN has units on there first, it will delay it on up. So can he take a good military trade and then just have the economy behind it to continue to mass? Doesn't care if there's keep fire, just continue to mass on up. That's maybe his chance. He's got the one Nest of Bees. He's going to wait for the second, but 2 minutes starting to ding, and LucifroN is posturing towards the center sacred site.
At the same time, keep is now also being built on the left side. With that, a keep will be up on every single sacred site. And this one is going to go up. The units, they're not going to be quick enough. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. Yeah, I think the attack is going to be happening on that left sacred side. LucifroN, though, he's moving all of his units towards that. Attack command has come in. Choose to fall back, but where can he fall back to? He doesn't have time to fall back. It's a minute remaining. He has to go through the palisade walls as well. He goes forward, wants to get a keep up there as well. But I don't feel like that's going to be happening now. If LucifroN just distracts MarinelorD here for long enough. 1 minute.
1 minute, doesn't know where to go, though. This is such a hard option, such a hard choice to fight at. LucifroN still has the military lead. A little bit of siege is in play, though, and MarinelorD's Nest of Bees could be a huge deciding factor. Keep, though, starting to be built. It had to get canceled. The keep that's already up for LucifroN does a great job at denying that. Started to take down villagers immediately. LucifroN, he's pushing MarinelorD back, but where's MarinelorD falling back to? He doesn't have time to fall back anymore.
Doesn't have time to fall back. 30 seconds remaining. Where is he going to go? Oh no, both armies right now. Looking to be about to clash here. But it feels like GG might be called here any second now. With only 17 seconds remaining. 15 seconds now. Keep is trying to get rushed up. Not enough military to even go through those palisade walls. Villagers also getting sniped from getting the keep up. And with that, this game is going to be over. And LucifroN is going to be able to tie up the series 1-1 now for both.
Another tied up series. Maybe this is just going to be the story of the day. We're in the quarters. We're starting to see these series get extended. It's not a 3-0. It's not a good old clean sweep. This head-to-head is 1-1.
Can see the villager count here. Looking so solid for MarinelorD. Over 100 villagers here. And still, just wasn't able to get enough units out on the field to be able to deal with what LucifroN had. And just goes to show that these passive resources that you get with the Dally, it's a lot of value. You can see the military count. He had more military and more army value than MarinelorD did. And just looking overall, super, super solid here for LucifroN with his Dally performance. Looks like the the Chinese in this one aren't going to be able to get a win off.
Yeah, I felt like MarinelorD, he threw away so many units during those trades at that original sacred site. And then after that, yeah, he might have had the Vil lead, but he didn't have the map control. LucifroN's out taking berries, taking deer everywhere out on the map, whereas MarinelorD had to transition into granaries behind it, had to transition into, other ways to get your food eco online. And it's very, very hurtful. You lose these timings that are so important. But enough about game number 2. We see Mali versus Joan of Arc in game number 3.
This is such a good matchup for the Malians. Being able to, usually, Jean, she takes very, very little damage from range attacks, but the Donzos, they do a lot of bonus damage to cavalry units. So even if Jean reaches that level 3, she has to be very, very careful. Now, there aren't going to be any crossbowmen from MarinelorD with the Malians. I mean, it's going to be... No crossbowman is kind of rough against the French or against Jeanne d'Arc, but still, Malians, super, super solid here.
Yeah, especially if you start to see that kind of feudal age play out where everyone in Mali, they love to play into their javelin throwers. Well, if Jean's level 2 sniped out so easily with the high base damage, and as you just mentioned, the Donzo, they're able to get a lot of damage on too. Your spears are a little bit more effective as they got that ranged attack.
Indeed. Now, Jean, I mean, we saw her earlier on Gorge being played by Puppy Paw, and that was a very, very solid performance. And yeah, Jean overall looking very, very strong at the moment. Could be that she has what it takes in order to maybe overtake the Malians here in this one. Gonna have to wait and see. Malians, though, we've seen them time and time again with that super solid food economy, and I don't think Jean is gonna go for a second TC. I think it would be very, very good in theory to go for a secondary TC here, especially against the Malians. But I don't think that's going to be LucifroN's game plan here.
Yeah, I mean, as you had kind of mentioned earlier on, with Jean going second TC, it does force your opponent to react. It forces fights, but Mali's a civ that it's scary to not equalize the military numbers on their side. But enough of talking about ideas, enough of talking about what could be. We're about to see what is going to actually happen.
Indeed. Game number 3, right around the corner, just about to start. And here we go. Spawning in the color red, we got MarinelorD playing as the Malians. We're playing here on the map Gorge. And on the other hand side, we got LucifroN playing as Jeanne d'Arc. And ladies and gentlemen, the series right now is tied up 1-1 for each of these players. And this one's going to be another really, really decisive one. Whoever wins this one is going to be going over to the semifinals. So very, very important that these players win this set, and we're going to be able to see exactly who is going to be favored here. I mean, Malians, they get some really, really nice bonuses against Jean, but Jean, we've seen her in the last set, looking very, very solid.
Yeah, this is also a map that forces your... well, maybe not Mali, but usually it forces your opponent to move out a little bit, take some map control. Your initial resources are nice and close, but then all the other ones are on the outskirts of the map. We're about to see the deer spawns in the corners, I'm sure, as it always tends to happen on this map. Same thing with the boar, which Jean loves going to take that, but that's also a nice and easy focal point for your opponents potentially as well.
Exactly. Lots of these resources just out on the map. Gotta move out at some point here. There's also not a ton of sheep, I feel like, and sometimes depending on your scouting route, you can be very poor when it comes to the sheep outcome at some points.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's just how a lot of the maps are, but this is one of the ones that makes it a little more bit profound. Sometimes you'll kind of watch a replay and you're like, oh, if I had gone this way, I would have had 10, but I chose the wrong spot and I only have 4. So it just kind of happens at times here. LucifroN trying to get some good scouting, good vision of where MarinelorD's golds are going to be. Obviously, we know where one's going to be, but where are all the secondary locations for those pit mines?
MarinelorD is a little bit lucky here. then he's got not just one, like gold on one side, but also on the other side. So he can choose where to go out. Unlucky, however, that there is going to be some berry bushes around his large gold vein. Those are going to block a lot of the houses potentially from going up.
I tell you what, a meditation garden's right there, though. With the 8K gold, the 8K stone, the double wood lines, and the berries, that would be a prime time.
There we go. School of Cavalry being rushed up with 3 villagers. So this means it's going to be a very fast age up coming in from LucifroN, but he's not going to immediately be getting a lot of experience on Jean. So it's going to be a little bit longer until Jean reaches that level 2 and be able to contribute to anything going on out on the map. But it's going to enable LucifroN to get some very, very early knights out.
I kind of like this build on Jean a lot earlier than the one where you'll see like the 445 age up, but yeah, she's level 2. It's like you can just wait a little bit, build a lumber camp, build a house, and then she'll be level 2. And this still allows your early knight pressure to come out, force a reaction from your opponent, and you want Molly on the back foot. You don't want them sitting, chill, relax, and not having a worry.
Exactly. Panzercorey coming in for MarinelorD. Nothing unusual here. Lots of villagers out on wood now as well. Might be prepping immediately for a second pit mine expansion. Then again, you're playing against Jean. You gotta imagine that there's gonna be knights out, so I would much rather be seeing an immediate barracks here. Maybe even a barracks sooner rather than later in the Dark Ages already, since you can already build it then.
Yep. MarinelorD, he's got a good amount of villagers over on the wood, so he's, planning on dropping that production, planning on getting some Donzos out, I am sure. But first, he wants Wheelbarrow.
Wheelbarrow coming in, definitely an important upgrade here. Helps with the gathering of every single resource type. Also, when these knights come in, getting that extra little bit of movement speed means that more often than not, you might be able to save a villager that would otherwise go down.
Yeah, that's really where it's so effective. When you're one of the knight civs, especially French or Jean, and you see those villagers slowly walking away, you're like, oh, well, that's a guaranteed vill kill, instead of, giving that little bit of extra pep in their step where they can just barely escape from that knight raid.
Barracks now being built by MarinelorD, so he is going to have an answer to these knights that are coming out from LucifroN. LucifroN got the first one out on the field, second one immediately in queue. Jean, though, not going to be level 2 for a while now.
She's over. It looks like she built a mill as well, so starting to gather in on some berries. And stone is being taken by LucifroN. I also wouldn't hate to see her go build that mill because she gets more XP while building. But just these little things here and there. I love being able to call out things like that, but when I'm playing that, I'm not doing any of those things.
I like the macro play here now from LucifroN going for that second TC. It's definitely like a way for you to play as Jeanne d'Arc, just because you're always going to be interested in taking fights. However, attacking into a compact base like the Malians, more often than not, isn't going to yield you with a lot of experience. So it's easier to just go for a secondary TC and force your opponent to attack you instead.
So the woman at arms has been chosen as expected. That is definitely the one that everyone is leaning towards, as the AoE swing attack is such a strong one, and moving out to the boar immediately as she has been leveled up too.
Yeah, and I mean, you especially don't want to have the range tag on your Jeanne d'Arc against a civilization that has access to javelin throwers.
There it is. Boar gets taken down quite quickly, no problem at all. We did see MarinelorD actually move out with his scout. He cleaned up a couple of the wolves over there to make sure to deny any of the extra XP going in from going in over to her.
Looks like MarinelorD also managed to scout out the stone here, so he knows that LucifroN is going for a second TC play. Immediately going to drop a couple of extra cattle ranches now.
Yeah, and I think this is kind of where MarinelorD being on Molly, seeing second T's, he's kind of fine with it. Like you talked about it last, the game against Chinese variant, where it's just one where 2 TCs, you're like, all right, now you'll just kind of match the cow economy. You don't have to be too worried, and you still get to play your own game.
Yeah, MarinelorD now keeps messing up more and more units, gets the javelin throws out as well. Javelin throws are going to be your main way of dealing with Jeanne when she's level 2. Just because you don't want to go in with the Donzos. Now, they do a little bit of damage, but Jeanne, she does have a lot of melee armor. You're not going to be able to do too much damage to her. And if the Donzos get too close, there's always the AoE attack that you have to be careful with. And yeah, just messing up his force for now. Another wolf gets picked off.
Yeah, still, MarinelorD just doing a great job making sure to deny any of those wolves. He doesn't have to worry about scouting his home base for those knights because he has Donzos on his gold. The gold is the only spot in the Mali economy right now that could be dove by the knights.
Yeah, on the other hand side, John, she just lured in a couple of deer under TC. That was going up. And now probably going to be looking to take down that boar on the opposite side from MarinelorD.
Yeah, it looks to be headed that way. MarinelorD, though, he does have enough military out where if he spots out Jean moving out, there's no defense for her. She has 2 knights, and those knights don't want to dive into 7 Donzos.
And now the expansion with the pit mine is going to be coming in for MarinelorD.
Oh, he's going to circle around to the gold, though. He sees the army pulling out.
Oh, he can't go for that. Look at that. Royal Knight immediately half health. Keeps a couple of Donzos with the villager. Reinforcement Donzo on the gold mine. Just as the knight arrives from LucifroN, might be getting a villager kill here potentially.
Oh, one villager finally goes down, but this is Mali. This isn't too crazy to see them lose a villager, and a knight falls down, which is a huge win.
Yeah, definitely not worth it, especially against a civilization like the Malians, which just kept so many ways to passively scale the economy.
We have seen the second TC finish a little bit ago, so LucifroN, he's starting to climb in that Vil lead. He did pick up 1 kill and now has 2 TCs working for him, which allows him now to go full into military. Now he's massing up. He needs to respect this Mali push.
It doesn't look, though, like MarinelorD is really too interested in pushing out right now. Looks like it's more going to be a mostly defensive play style for him. Just wants to play his own game, wants to play around the cattle ranches, and I guess it makes sense because MarinelorD, he probably does the math. He knows, okay, you only go onto 2 TC, you're not the old French, you're not getting villagers that quickly. My cattle ranches, the scaling initially is probably going to be good enough to kill you before you can kill me in the Castle Age.
Yeah, I think by push, I think it's more MarinelorD's going to go for this timing push where he knows the TC hasn't paid off. He knows his cows kind of have. And Mali, they're so good at actually being, I think the very first game you talked about it, they're one of the civilizations that can put pressure, but also have this massive eco boom behind it. And that's what we're starting to already see now.
Additional production buildings being built now by MarinelorD, scaling up their javelin mass. Wants to get more and more of those out, and LucifroN just sending those knights, splitting them up, looking around all the different resources that are out on the map, trying to find some value here and there. Not finding any at the moment, though, and has to be really careful with those knights. These Donzos, they do a lot of damage. Luckily, Chivalry's already in, so this knight, he's gonna take a short trip to the infirmary and be on his feet again.
Yep, that is a very expensive upgrade, but very necessary for those knights to have that nice and passive healing in the long run. MarinelorD getting some blacksmith upgrades finally. LucifroN doing the same on his side, but LucifroN is massing up the archers at home. This is what you'll see French do so much. They'll wait until they have the archer number to start one-shotting the Donzos or one-shotting spearmen, and then they'll move out with them.
Yeah, and all of this. Nightmare's also building, so LucifroN's army value right now actually overtaking MarinelorD's, and I feel like right now, LucifroN, he could be playing into a position where he just waits for MarinelorD to reach Castle Age, and as soon as the Castle Age gets clicked, he's just going to all-in dive MarinelorD. I think an earlier push might be in a potentially uncomfortable timing for MarinelorD, but not as decisive as soon as he clicks up to next age.
Yeah, but does look like LucifroN is heading towards MarinelorD's side. You can't forget Jean is here, so wants to get some XP, but the mass on the other side, that can kill her so quickly.
Yeah, the high base damage from the javelin throwers mean that they're going to be an excellent weapon to use against Jean here. LucifroN's economy behind all of this, looking solid. He's gotten every single economy upgrade so far. A couple of the blacksmith upgrades as well. Doesn't have the +1 pierce damage upgrade yet.
Yeah, surprised not to see that in, but I would expect that to be the next upgrade clicked on up. And the second TC has now given him a 13 villager lead, so starting to extend that out. But just how he's investing into villagers, MarinelorD has been cow booming as well. We can see the red on his side next to his TC. It's gonna probably have a fair 12 or so cows at this point, I feel like.
I think he might even be up to the full 18 right now, since he still has a lot of gold in the bank. And he's not buying any more cattle. I think he's fully cattle boomed.
Oh,
yeah, it looks like he's done. He's completely done with the boom up. And now, with that, he's going to be looking towards Castle Age, and he's getting that one in very, very quickly. LucifroN on the other side as well. Only a little bit of food behind, and then he'll be able to click up as well. Grenfell and Corral now coming in. 14 villagers building that one.
It's crazy with their different builds, with their different investments into their ecos, still both producing militaries. The timings are so similar. They just know exactly what their opponents are doing. They're scouting out what their opponents are doing as well. It's not just assuming, but even still, the timings are so similar and just almost like it's a mirror, but it's not.
And now, Castle Age coming for both players. Guildhall for LucifroN, and he's also getting some of his own spearmen out now. I wouldn't be surprised if we potentially see some men-at-arms coming out from LucifroN. Because, John, usually you're not able to get your reduction of cost on military on barracks. But with Sean, you can consecrate your barracks. And with that, you can get some very cheap men-at-arms out.
Guildhall is sitting on food for the time being. Sometimes you'll see the first initial one be on food to lessen the worry about this huge food transition if your opponent goes imp, and you'll just be able to go imp with having 1,200 gold in the bank.
Very posturing in the middle, but MarinelorD, he's getting all of his veterancy upgrades in very, very quickly. Malians only pay half for the veterancy upgrades, and they also come in 50% quicker. Now LucifroN, he's got to be careful. It's not a fight that he wants to take yet. Veterancy on the archers, not quite in yet.
And LucifroN, he's starting to sprinkle in some spears into his mix. This allows to just be another tanky front line. The javelin throwers have a lot of, they don't get the extra base damage, but they're going to be overkilling the spearmen quite a bit anyways. So that's where the spearmen are a cost-efficient unit.
Monastery potentially going down. That's a lot of investment. 200 wood on that one. Royal Knight not going down, and now the javelin throws on the front side. Jean, though. Jean gets focused down immediately, and she's going to lose her life very quickly here in this fight. LucifroN not falling back yet, though.
She lost her life, but there was a huge knight charge to start off that fight onto the Jav mass, and the archers have been doing a great job of cleaning up a lot of these Donzos. Looks like LucifroN choosing to take the fight. Jean still got some XP earlier on before she fell, and the knights are running rampant into the backside, and it looks like MarinelorD might be losing this fight and having to fall back.
LucifroN doing such a great job with the micro, sniping down all of the Donzos. And now the Knights able to just charge in there, killing so many units. Destruction value firmly in the lead for LucifroN now.
And now Jean comes back to the front line. This is where I wouldn't be surprised to see LucifroN just dive the base of MarinelorD. He just took a huge military trade. The next fight should get Jean to level 3, I believe. And then if you're level 3 and they don't have more than 20 units out, you basically just win the game there.
Now the pit mine comes out for MarinelorD. Looks though like LucifroN is actually walking towards that, and this pit mine actually provides LucifroN with a lot of potential experience. You're getting 10% of the investment that MarinelorD put into these buildings as experience if you take him down. Doesn't look like he's going for it yet though. Both players just remassing military.
I think he might have just been posturing to kind of cut off the military to get that first relic on its way on back from, or not first relic, but second relic on its way back from MarinelorD's side.
And all of this though, MarinelorD definitely invested a lot into remassing his military. Right now, army value actually favoring him.
Yes, it is. Significant amount of javelins, significant amount of Donzos, whereas LucifroN's main army mass is still on the archers, still on the spears, and not as many Royal Knights being continued to mass up.
That's kind of the weak point for civilizations when they play against the Malians, because the Malian, they don't have a food transition. It literally does not exist for them. They get their cows up, and that's it. That's all the food income for the rest of the game that they need. Sacred sites now being captured here by LucifroN. Both players contested relics. Looks like MarinelorD actually got 3 of the 5 relics on this map.
Yeah, kind of surprising to see considering LucifroN does have the knights. He could, circle around, snipe out some of those monks moving out, but just never was able to do so. Has kept this mass together. Oh, that first knight just, it does get sniped out just immediately. Such high base damage. The javelin throwers and the Danzo, more importantly, able to throw that spear.
Yeah, I feel like you have to be super, super careful against those. Pierce damage upgrade haven't been researched yet by LucifroN. The first one only just now coming in, but level 3 has been reached. Never mind, that was just Consecration Sound. For a second, I thought it was level 3 coming in.
Oh, she does have 4 charges up. It's just when you're level 2 right now and it's age 3 and there's 70 units out, you can't step up with Jean. You can't use the AoE cleave ability. She's kind of just almost like a spearman.
And now, lots of spearmen from LucifroN. That's going to be the front line here in this one. Lots of archers as well. Jean, out on the front line, has to be super careful. Healing comes out.
There's level 3.
There it is. Let's go. Level 3 comes in. Should be able to immediately summon some men-at-arms in the front line as well. And she's immediately looking for the charge attack. Has to be careful with the Danzo though, but men-at-arms should be summoned any second now.
Good AoE attack there. You can see MarinelorD has to respect that AoE. Able to get another one. Oh my, 5 units immediately fall from the cleave. And look at the army difference now. LucifroN headed towards the base, headed towards the heart of the eco of MarinelorD, and still has Jean at 3/4 health. Nice, and finding another AoE cleave.
So many units now going down with level 3. A power spike comes in for Jeanne d'Arc. And the men-at-arms, very, very tanky now. Look at the javelin throwers. They're not doing any damage to her anymore. And MarinelorD's base, it's looking open now.
One more cleave. Oh, another cleave. Just the cleaves are so crazy with getting on top of those grouped up mass. And then LucifroN pulls back Jean at a nice and like 10% health. He's doubling the military on the other side. He's got the Vil count lead still. LucifroN is looking to take lead on this series.
And behind that, he's got 2,000 wood in the bank. He can now go for farm transition. The one thing that he had to delay all this time, he was able to get all of these units out with the guild hall, getting the food in there, and now he has the wood for his farm transition.
Yeah, this stalled up perfectly. It kind of put a damper on the biggest weakness of the French at times, which is that food transition you're talking about. With 2,500 wood in the bank, why would he put his farms there? Sorry. Farms being dropped front and center.
In front of the base. Yep, that's usually where you want the farms to be, but that's where he's going to be putting them. Should definitely pull a couple more villagers now to make some more farms. There we go. More villagers getting pulled for farms. Definitely needs that food transition. He's taking the deer from MarinelorD. All right. Okay.
I mean, at this point, if you drop an outpost, this is a great location to give yourself some vision, too. MarinelorD, he doesn't see any of it. He's over onto the gold. He's over onto the berries near there, and he's dropping a defensive keep because he was so worried about the push that was about to come. He's halfway at finishing the keep. LucifroN spots it out. He's deciding to go dive a little bit further. There's still javelins here. Not a tons of Danzo. Only 6 Danzo here during this fight. The keep should go up, but who cares if the keep goes up if you have this much military here and nothing to actually take it down. Jean gets a great cleave onto the backside. Javelin throwers again.
Heals up as well. Now she's more than half health, and it's going to take so long for javelins to take her down. And LucifroN, he's just pushing past the keep now into the base from MarinelorD. He's going to be sitting on the production buildings. And with that, MarinelorD, he's not going to be able to get any more units out on the field.
Yep, Jean's sitting at about half health, but only 25 units out from MarinelorD. They're all essentially javelin throwers. There's knights out. There's archers out. There's everything on the side of LucifroN, and he's just getting further and further into MarinelorD's eco that doesn't have the keep, doesn't have the TC fire on it anymore, and MarinelorD's going to be in a struggling situation. Already is and already has been.
But at the same time, I mean, LucifroN's able to do all that without the +2 pierce damage upgrade on his archers. He's not doing any damage to the javelin throwers. He's not doing any damage to the sofas. But the army mass, it's enough. It's just too many units. And Jeanne d'Arc once again reaches low health. But the units go down and GG gets called. LucifroN gets a lead up on MarinelorD.
Yeah, what some people would like to call the GOAT, MarinelorD, going down 2-1 so far, but can he hold? Can he try to even up the series here with this next game? You can see the villager count. Wasn't a ton of like damage done on MarinelorD's side. You know, it's not like LucifroN was nonstop raiding. We got that one Vil pick on the gold early on, and that was about it. He just took some good trades, had some great clears with Jean, and it proved to be enough.
Yeah, Jean d'Arc looking so good in these sets right now. I think it's time to nerf Byzantines again, but yeah, military count just rising up and up and up here, and yeah, LucifroN just pushing it in there towards the end. The keep just not able to protect what need to be protected there. Crucial timing for LucifroN, and he manages to thread the needle, and MarinelorD had to call the GG.
Oh, what a wild wild day we've had so far. We had the first series going to 5, going the distance, and now we already have the next one going to game number 4. We're about to see the matchup in a second. It's 4 lakes, and it's no roost being played because it's banned out on either side. LucifroN not able to get Japanese himself because it was banned. So this is where LucifroN is on the English.
It's interesting. I've seen LucifroN play a lot of 4 lakes with the Chinese, Vortex as well. Now he's going to be picking English against the Japanese, and Japanese so far, they've been looking absolutely solid in like all of these hybrid kind of games. Now 4 lakes as well, especially, you're going to be able to just invest so much into water easily and still get a very, very decent fuel age timing behind that. I'm not sure if English is going to be the correct choice here, because similar to the Japanese, to the English, the Japanese can also make men-at-arms in the Feudal Age. So not only do you also get men-at-arms, but you also get archers, which are very cheap, have very high movement speed. And because they're so cheap, in many situations, you're able to just overrun the longbow mass.
Yeah, the Shinobi not quite as effective against the English because of those longbows, but like you just said, some of the other units are very, very effective. The key here, though, is water. Whenever it's a hybrid map play, it's making sure your water doesn't get denied. So if you're able to secure 3 of the 4 lakes, usually that's where you'll start to see the writing on the wall, the economy behind it starting to boost up and the military transitioning. I've seen LucifroN time and time again on these hybrid maps just really do some crazy plays, whether it's putting a couple longbows into the wood line that wasn't being expected, or dropping a secret dock on the other side. It's just really cool in the builds that we can see.
Indeed. I mean, we talk about it all the time, right? This is a hybrid map. The Spanish brothers, they thrive on hybrid maps. And LucifroN, he's always super, super strong when it comes to being able to put up aggression on one side, raid on the other side, and especially when it comes to taking control over pawns. Now, Japanese, if they go for the Coca Township, they're also able to put up a lot of aggression on pawns, also in a defensive manner. It's going to be interesting to see how this one is going to be played out exactly. But LucifroN, I gotta tell you, when it comes to hybrid maps, this man is definitely always looking to be in a very, very solid position. But this is going to be match point for LucifroN, so MarinelorD better give it his A game now.
Yeah, nothing's more frustrating when you get that dock down on your opponent's pond, and then all of a sudden the Shinobi deactivates it right off the bat, and you're like, well, there goes all that aggression, there goes that timing that you could potentially deny your other side.
Got some very, very high bets right now. And look at that. MarinelorD versus LucifroN. The bets are pretty much even right now. 50-50 split between the viewers right now. And I gotta say, this is very, very exciting. It's very much up in the air how this one is going to go. The Japanese looking very solid, but at the same time, the English also in the hands of LucifroN. Definitely potential there. We're going to be going into our game number 4. Potential decider game for LucifroN in just a little bit.
Yeah, you guys, y'all cannot forget, this is win or go home today. Well, go home for the rest of the year. We'll be hearing about some new tournaments announced next year, I am sure, here in the near future. And one of those could be a Vegas LAN if we get 1,000 Patreons. So if you're feeling a little supportive, if you're feeling like a great way to support the AoE4 scene, no better way to do it than that. But Instead of talking about this next game, let's go ahead and jump into 4 lakes between LucifroN and MarinelorD.
Exactly. Just still a little bit remaining. We're about to initiate the overlay. It looks like we're just about ready to jump in. And here we go. Spawning in the color red, we got MarinelorD playing as the Japanese. On the opposite side, we have LucifroN playing as the English, and we're here on 4 lakes. One of the more interesting hybrid maps that we have. We got 4 ponds in every single corner. Players are going to want to contest these, and there's a lot of food in there. There's 4 deep sea fish in every single one of these ponds, and it's a lot of food. It's a lot of food, and the deep sea fish, they regenerate. So this is a renewable income, so to say, that you can get here. Being able to load out your entire food economy on the shorelines, on the fish, can be very good for you in this game. And you're gonna have to see how these players are gonna be playing it. And players right now just scouting out in the early game, looking for those sheep. Now, things that we have to look at in the early game, it's gonna have to be age-up choices, because the Japanese, they have a choice to make here. Is it going to be the Koka Township or the Kurasahas?
You know, it's one where whenever you have that, what you just said, the replenishing food economy that never goes away, you play this map in my eyes like you're going to win water. If you don't win water, you usually lose anyways. Well, the extra farms aren't really going to do too much for you. Usually when you have deep sea fish, your food is through the roof and you're needing other resources more than farms. So that's where I feel like even though Shinobi might not be the greatest against English, they still have their play. Whether you just have that free one or you just make a second one, I still feel like it's better than the storehouse.
Agreed. Then again, the storehouse does always give you that little bit of wood as well, once the farms have been fully positioned. And I mean, wood here on a map like this, getting some extra wood in to be able to get more ships out in the mid game, definitely be something that you might want. At the same time, I mean, we also got to just take a moment here to compare the eco bonuses that the English and the Japanese get. So the Japanese, they get some really, really fast gathering with their wheelbarrow upgrade alternative that they get from the berries. They can also gather really fast from farms around their town centers if they upgrade their town centers with stone. Also, their fishing ships are very cheap. They only pay 45 wood for every single fishing ship. On the other side, though, with the English, you don't really get any immediate direct eco bonuses. However, your farms are very cheap. You only pay half price for your farms. And you get a general discount of 10% on your fishing ship, or rather on all of your ships from the dock. So you don't pay full price. It's not as big as the discount that the Japanese get on their ships. But overall, you still save up quite a bit of wood playing as the English on water.
LucifroN putting a fishing boat out there. Might not be efficient, but what it's doing for him, it's giving him vision to make sure a secret dock doesn't get dropped out of nowhere. And as those eco upgrades you were just talking about, it definitely does, in my eyes, sound like Japan has a little bit of a leg up. We even didn't mention a few of them. You know, you can already see stone being gathered into the bank, even though he's not on stone, which might not mean much, but all of a sudden you could get a free dock emplacement, a free outpost emplacement, or whatever really you want to utilize that for. But instead, MarinelorD, he's just moving out to that second pond sooner.
Yeah, being able to invest from 2 ponds, able to save up a lot of wood that way. LucifroN, though, looks like he is going to be creeping towards that castle age, not castle age, that feudal age very, very shortly now. MarinelorD already has the gold for it, just doesn't have the food quite yet. But with that economy over on water, just going to be one drop off away, surely.
Yeah, that's one of those things with whenever you're on deep sea fish, whenever you have fishing boats out onto those lakes, they hold so much. It's not like a villager that has, 10 resources. I believe it's 40 resources that they drop off per trip. So all of a sudden you got 5 fishing boats out there. You can age up just from that.
And there we go. Council Hall coming in for LucifroN, and the Koka Township is going to be the landmark for MarinelorD here. So he's immediately going to get 1 free Shinobi and has the option to make additional Shinobi in the feudal age.
Yep. LucifroN will have a great answer to the Shinobi with those longbows. They just have that range, great ability to snipe out, get some extra damage on those. But you got to scout out where those Shinobi are. You got to make sure you get vision of where they are to be able to snipe them out.
MarinelorD takes a look at what LucifroN has out on water right now, and MarinelorD, he's already getting a little bit of a leg up right now when it comes to the water economy with that double dock play. No secondary dock has come out yet from LucifroN, so very likely this is just going to be a feudal age play from him. As soon as he gets that console up, he'll just be streaming military units over the map.
Yep. Coca Township about to finish. Council Hall about to finish. The big difference here is that Council Hall, it's a double archery range. So he, just like you said, streaming units across the longbows. Very, very hard to deal with once they start massing up and get a lot of numbers.
Barracks also immediately being dropped. Has to be careful though. This barracks is very far away from the TC. If a Shinobi goes over here, there is potential for Shinobi to just Shunshin over there and disable the production from that barracks for the next 30 seconds.
Scout does spot out that Shinobi right off the bat. LucifroN dropping a second dock on his original pond to just make the fishing boats become a little bit more efficient once they are done with the first spot.
Cheap gets taken down. One shot by the Shinobi. Outpost coming out on that forward gold, so not as much of a spawn that MarinelorD is used to. Usually the golds from MarinelorD spawn all the way in the back, but this one's going to be in the front, and he wants to secure that one now with an outpost.
Yep, make sure to do so. So the outpost gets rushed down with all of those gold villagers, and the longbows were just a couple steps away from actually arriving in time to deny it, but instead, just a few steps late. Think
now,
about
horsemen coming out from MarinelorD, but the spearmen are already there for LucifroN.
Yeah, and the thing about outposts on your gold, or outposts in general against your longbow English civilization, is it's kind of a bait. If your opponent's able to just reposition around the outpost, that resource still can get denied very, very easily.
Yeah, and we can see LucifroN doing exactly that, walking around the side here, even with the arrow slits. This gold is now going to be denied. LucifroN, though, I mean, in theory, MarinelorD, he could build a forge on the other side right next to the outpost, and with that, he should be able to once again gather gold. Looks like he's moving back, though, for now. He's starting to make archers now, or rather, he did drop an archery range. Oh, look at that. LucifroN gets the dock up on the pond here from MarinelorD. Now, MarinelorD, he didn't invest too much into this one yet. He's also getting an archer ship out, but this is going to be annoying for him.
Yep. And you know it's super annoying is always constantly getting these pings on your forge from these longbows. MarinelorD, he's going to utilize these horsemen to try to pick off some of those reinforcing longbows, make sure that LucifroN can't keep that mass all together. That's what we're actually about to see exactly here now. The spearman can close the gap, though. Not quite. We see one longbow fall. A couple of those horsemen,
and the
though.
Scout is going to get taken down. That's a lot of vision denial now. MarinelorD massing up those archers, but it's going to take a while for him to get enough archers out, and LucifroN Water immediately opens up with the Springle ship, and LucifroN doesn't have any gold to respond with a demo ship or a Springle ship of his own.
Yeah, this is really the big point of denying gold is you know your opponent can't have an answer to this. You know you should essentially win your water side with one military ship, and that's it. MarinelorD already had to reposition to his front wood line now as well, so even more resources starting to run a little bit lower.
This is looking kind of rough now for MarinelorD. Demo ship also coming out there on water, and with that, I mean, LucifroN, he's getting the full triple out here. Archer ship, Springle ship, and the demo ship. He's going to be looking to take full control over that pond.
This is not looking good at all. Let's see what these horsemen can do. The villagers even sniping out the shinobi or trying to. Outpost starting to get burned. It's all infantry there, though. So we'll have some losses for attempting to take down this outpost. Ooh.
Yeah, an outpost stays up. MarinelorD able to still take control over that gold. But now it's going to lose control of the pond.
The outpost stays up, but his eastern side pond has been denied. The horsemen, they're getting chased down by some spears, getting a little bit of extra damage onto those. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to get any damage done, but they're just a distraction point. They're just trying to give MarinelorD a little bit of time to breathe at home.
Yeah, and time is exactly what he needs, but at the same time, LucifroN now starting to invest into the man-at-arms.
Yeah, we're starting to see the additional blacksmith upgrades for LucifroN as well. MarinelorD, he's been off that gold for so long, he can't really invest into all these upgrades. He has to be very, very picky with which upgrades he can choose, with just now being back onto that gold barely.
And a second dock has been invested into by LucifroN, meaning that this pond is definitely going to be fully in his control now. Upgrades coming in for those men-at-arms, as you said.
Yeah.
And with this, I mean, MarinelorD, he still has the lead overall, economically. 2 of these fishing ships are going to be denied permanently. But I'm not sure what kind of situation he is in right now. Because behind all of this, his archers, Yorishiro archers, they're going to do very little damage as long as there's no bannerman out. And I don't think MarinelorD's even gotten the first daimyo in yet.
No, I don't believe so. He's had to use that stone on upgrading the outpost. The outpost immediately starting to get focused again. LucifroN thinking he can take this fight. Longbow's trying to step forward, trying to snipe down some of the archers on the other side. And it does look like the outpost will get denied. And this is so bad for MarinelorD if he's not able to hold this position here. If he's not able to win this fight, this could just be it. Horsemen trying to circle. There's only a few of them there, but the archer mass for MarinelorD is plentiful. There's a couple samurai trying to come out as well. And I don't see a lot of other units from
wrap around.
Wrap around from the horsemen. There's only a few men-at-arms here. And MarinelorD looks like he might be able to clean up this mass.
He's going to be cleaning up all the longbows. Doesn't have an immediate answer yet to the men-at-arms. But with the archers, with their bonus movement speed, he'll always be able to at least run away from them. Is he getting another outpost up on the gold, though, is the main question here. Because as long as he's going to fall back, those men-at-arms, he needs an answer to them. The samurai themselves, they're probably not going to be good enough here without any gold excess.
He went off to the eastern side gold secretly. So now he at least has secretly gone off to another gold. He's dropping a dock in the western pond, so hopefully can equalize the pond numbers after a huge victory on the military mass.
Structure value. Now looking good for MarinelorD. Behind all of this, though, the economy for LucifroN looking very solid. And it's still a men-at-arms mess now. 10 men-at-arms out on the field, and MarinelorD just doesn't have a comparable food economy right now.
He's starting to mass up some samurai, though. He's starting to mass up those archers still, and the military numbers aren't as bad for MarinelorD as it felt like they were gonna be at this point.
Yeah, still no daimyo upgrade in, so no bannerman out there. Without the bannerman, these archers, they're not really gonna be doing too much damage here. Could be doing 2 damage against the men-at-arms right now with every single shot, but without the bannerman, it's only gonna be a single damage.
And it's not MarinelorD who's going to be dropping an outpost over there. It's going to be LucifroN who wants to drop an outpost forward, wants to get this network of castles bonus for all of these English units. And I love that his first one's a little bit more conservative. He wants to make sure he gets the outpost up because all you want to have is that bonus.
Bombman rushing forward. Production building gets denied. Has to be placed elsewhere.
I talked about the wood lines a little bit ago. The initial wood line got chopped through. The secondary wood line, he chopped through too far, a little too forward, and now he's onto the back one. So if that runs low, this is, again,
he's going for
talking about it being bad for MarinelorD.
He finds it. He finds it. Now he knows that there is indeed gold being mined here in the back. MarinelorD did a great job of massing up these samurai numbers behind all of this stuff. Might have enough units here now to take a fight. Has a lot of archers. And LucifroN has to be careful here with this fight. That's a lot of units right now that he's seeing here.
Significant amount of units. We're going to see how well this micro can come to play as both of these players so great with the micro longbows, trying to snipe out the archers on the other side. Archers making sure not to attack the men-at-arms, but it still will do it a few times. But LucifroN is the one who is winning this fight very heavy-handedly, it seems.
Yeah, the archers, they just can't do any damage against the men-at-arms, but on the other hand side, the longbowmen, they can do some good damage against the samurai. And the range difference as well. The archers from MarinelorD just aren't able to dive past the front line, and now the men-at-arms completely clean up the samurai. MarinelorD looking in trouble here. This could be it now. This is match point for LucifroN.
15 men-at-arms, 20 longbows still out, and MarinelorD just lost his whole entire mass. He's lost the map control. He's lost this whole thing. He's onto the west side pond, but there's no fishing boats there. He didn't actually invest into eco over there.
And
he had to invest to defend.
The idle time on as all of these villagers will have to evacuate, and GG gets called. MarinelorD gets taken down in the quarterfinals. LucifroN is going to be the one to win this one, and he's going to be moving on to the semifinals.
What a huge game by LucifroN, a huge series by LucifroN. A lot of people would have said MarinelorD's the favorite, but LucifroN has something else to say here. People questioned the English against the Japanese. Everyone was like, hey, Japanese, one of the strongest on hybrids. Well, maybe English is the good answer to it.